Straight ahead, we have got a major weekend at so many different venues. We're going to be talking Dubai World Cup, Derby preps, Oaks preps. We've got harness action from Woodbine Mohawk Park, huge mandatory payouts at a couple of venues. Plus, we're back with a bet battle where Jason and I will duke it out. It's an action-packed edition of Racing Around the World, starting right now.
It's travel column in front. Down for this final furlong with Florent Giroux. Super Sensational. Clairiere still has 5 lengths to find and a 16 to do so as Super Sensational is switched out. Little Tootsie is 4th, but close to home, it's Travel Column. Travel Column to win the Fairgrounds Oaks handily. They come down for this final furlong. It's Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon needs to lift. Hot Rod Charlie finding for Joel Rosario. They come past the 16th. Hot Rod Charlie just holds Midnight Bourbon, and rattling home is Old Bezos. It's Hot Rod Charlie to win the TwinSpires.com Louisiana Derby.
Well, it was a signature weekend from Fairgrounds last weekend, Jason. A couple of sharp winners there. We saw Travel Column win the rubber match with Clairiere, but they'll renew their rivalry, as we know, down the road, maybe in just a few weeks. And then how about Hot Rod Charlie setting a track record? I think beating it by more than a full second, getting a 99 buyer, and I don't know, throwing his hat into the ring there as a major Derby hopeful.
Yeah, so Friday, April 30th, that's the big one for the girls, the Kentucky Oaks. And then, yeah, Hot Rod Charlie, adamant, wanted to get the lead. Joel Rosario got it, never gave it up, and precious points for that guy as well.
Yeah, it was a great weekend, that's for sure, as we wind down in the month of March. We'll get to all the busy stuff we've got, but let's keep going with these Derby and Oaks hopefuls and see what's happening, because we're getting some huge points out there, more big points up for grabs this weekend. As for the Kentucky Derby, leaders right now, top 20. Hot Rod Charlie takes over the lead there. Midnight Bourbon, we know Greatest Honor in there. We've got some locals, of course, and Helium, Wayburn, Essential Quality. I believe he's pointing towards the Bluegrass, which will be next weekend. But one big name is now suddenly missing on this list, Porty.
That's the game changer, right? And life is good. Wow, talk about addition by subtraction. It really opens things up, and as a result, a different look and different feel now to what could be more of a wide-open Derby. And as we take a look at the ladies with the Oaks, we know Travel Column and Clairiere aren't finished. That was the rubber match just for now. The shock for me, old Bodemeister, seeing that one in the 4th spot with 52 points. I think the ladies' side is up for grabs as well. This is going to be a great 3-year-old campaign on both sides.
Looking forward to it. As you say, we're only a few weeks away, so 5 weeks away from that major weekend in Kentucky. Let's look at this. You know, this is one of my favorite weekends all year long because, you know, with the Dubai World Cup and then, you know, you always have the Florida Derby, and we've got some great harness action, of course, and seen there too on the Friday schedule. Hoosier Park, we welcome them back with their meet getting underway on the Friday evening. Then into Saturday, yes, Dubai starting good and early, Jason. I read that they're calling for 96-degree temperatures. It is going to be a scorcher.
Wow. Bring on the AC. I love it, though. That means, you know, we're not that far away ourselves from summertime. And I don't care what the sport, Chad, the best 2 words, opening day. Major League Baseball begins on Thursday. Oh, it is a thing of beauty. I am fired up. Let's play ball.
That warm weather is coming, as you talked about. Even you and I managed to get out to the golf course, and it's March. We love it. What to watch for? Well, kicking off the weekend, this card was supposed to be last weekend from Rose Hill. Huge. Headlined by the $2.7 million Golden Slipper for those 2-year-olds. Big field, of course, will battle. Rain postponed it. It's going to go on Friday. 5 Group 1s. You saw Dubai, their World Cup card getting underway 7:45 a.m. Then Gulfstream with the Florida Derby. We have just got you covered morning to night. And Santa Anita's got a stake event as well. Then we even get into a little Japan Racing Association from Chukio. They've got some huge events. And again, we're the new North American hub, and hopefully you're enjoying all the racing action from those venues. Then we wrap up the weekend with some minor stakes events from a couple of the venues as well. But we were talking about some mandatory payouts. Well, Gulfstream Park on their Florida Derby Day, they have got a mandatory Rainbow Six payout slated for Saturday. Now, million, almost 1.1 is the carryover, Jason. But that goes into Friday. It's going to be even higher if it doesn't go on Friday's card. But and if it doesn't go, of course, they're going to have the mandatory payout. And then we've got our Jackpot Hi-5. We know every time we do this mandatory payout, it's just so much excitement behind it.
Yeah, and I love the way Gulfstream Park is building that momentum where people play right up into that mandatory payout day. And yeah, we've got our own to talk about on Saturday night. You've got some great comments from some drivers. We'll give out some tickets a little bit later on, so we got a lot of ground to cover.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Let's start with Dubai, their World Cup program. After a one-year hiatus due to COVID, they thought they'd get it going, but they actually had to cancel it late. They're back now with the 25th edition of this rich event. 9 races, $26.5 million up for grabs. Headlined by this one, Porty, $12 million. Scheduled to go at about 12:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Field of 14 in here. You know, the American Invaders have done well, but Godolphin has done really well, especially the last couple of years, winning it with Thunder Snow. And Saeed bin Sarur has won 9 of these. They've got a bunch in here, but anybody kind of pique your interest?
Yeah, well, the Americans I respect. We're seeing Stidham, Saez go across there. I believe their first trips to the second richest race on the planet. So that one's in play. Mystic Guide, Jesus' team as well. But I'm going to go home team first. I'm going to go the local horse and just forget about what happened or didn't happen in an uneventful trip to Saudi Arabia. Talking about Military Law. Here's a look back at his most recent run at Meydan. It was the Al Maktoum Challenge, round 1. It's a Group 2. Love the way he splits horses here. A patient ride under Antonio Fresu, and I really feel like, you know, he gets a great draw post 5, allows him to stalk and pounce, and he's going to meet some horses that he met on this occasion, and it's the way he does it. I watched him on the run out, look strong. I think this horse is going to appreciate getting back to the Meydan course, Chad. He's been over it 5 times with a pair of wins and a pair of seconds. So Military Law for me, and just a lot of things are just pointing in this guy's direction. It's the track, course, horse, horses for course, whatever you want to call it. The connections, trainer is saying that this horse right now is doing so well. I could sense a little bit of, you know, just feeling really good, just kind of being a little bit pompous, the trainer. And Military Law for me, I can see him going off at about 4.5 to 1. I'll be watching on that one on HPI Bet and HPI TV. By the way, Chad, speaking of HPI TV, I'm loving this free preview, and so are a lot of people in the month of March, so it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, Bell subscribers, final week of that HPI TV preview, so enjoy it, and hopefully for those of you that didn't have it, maybe you sign up for it after that free preview ends. But let's talk about my pick. I'm going to go Manicourt, a long shot, 12 to 1 in the morning line. Is going to be the 8 in the wagering. From the post, it'll be post 12. That's not ideal, but connections are high on this guy too. 6 years old. Lightly raced. This is only going to be his 9th start, but he's won 5 of 8. Horse that he beat last year, Persian King, came out of that race to win a couple of Group 1s. A lot of talent there. He had to deal with some injuries. I think he can do it. Never been on the dirt, but Jason Medalio d'Oro out of an AP Indy mare, screaming dirt in that spot. Hey, and it happens to be Godolphin as well. So those are our thoughts on the Dubai World Cup. Enjoy that huge card, and looking forward to the race prior to that one, Porty, because we've got Channel Maker and Mishriff that get to battle it out on the turf. So looking forward to that. But let's head to where it's going to be hot too. Maybe not 96 degrees hot, but it should be a great weekend in Florida Gulfstream Park. They have got their huge program headlined by the Florida Derby. On the undercard, tons of graded stakes. I believe they've got 6 graded stakes in total. They've even got this one, the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Oaks. Field of 7, so it didn't attract a big field in here, Porty. And there isn't that, you know, kind of huge household name as far as those filly, but you talked about it. This is kind of a division that right now, you know, maybe leading up to the Kentucky Oaks, pretty wide open.
100 points up for grabs. The heavyweights aren't there. Yeah, this is just kind of a skimpy race considering there's a lot on the line. I'm going to go Crazy Beautiful. I love the fact that she's coming off a second place effort behind a horse that just shocked that day in the Bodemeister filly. But I really feel like she's kind of best of the rest. But it's a scramble. It's a scramble. Nobody in here gets me overly enthused. I'll try Crazy Beautiful at maybe about 3-1.
I'm going to try Milfoy. We'll get that. I mean, the horse got shuffled back in the Devona Dale and never did rally. I don't know if that was the entire reason, but willing to give that one a pass on that start, and hopefully she can rebound in that contest. A couple of races later to cap off the mandatory payout for their Rainbow Six and a huge program. Race 14, it is the Grade 1 Florida Derby. $750,000 up for grabs, 100 points to the winner. You've got a field of 11. Morning line favorite at 6-5 is the 7 Greatest Honor, who has just been unreal, getting better and better. Is this a one-horse race?
Don't want to say it is, but I think it is, Chad. And this is a key stepping stone in terms of the Derby, because since implementing the Florida Derby back in 1952, 15 horses have gone on to win the Run for the Roses that first Saturday in May, most recently Always Dreaming, I do believe, in 2017. And then 2016, I think it was Nyquist comes to mind as well. But not exactly a perfect trip for this guy last time out. Greatest Honor. We're going to hear from trainer Shug McGahee in a bit, but had to stop. You know, was going kind of against the flow of traffic. But man, oh man, this guy, it seems like a mile and a 16th isn't even what he wants, you know, on a speed favoring track with that short pole to the first wire. And when this guy goes a little bit longer, I think he's going to be even more dangerous. So I've been aboard his bandwagon for quite a while now. I can't get off just because I just really feel like he's going to get the perfect setup as well. So Greatest Honor, tough to beat the best horse when he's going to get likely just a dream scenario. There's going to be speed in there that might be kind of cheap speed. It's going to set the table nicely for this guy. And speaking with Shug, you know, this is bringing back memories of Orb for him. This is the same type of pattern he used for that guy en route to winning the Derby with Joel Rosario. And Greatest Honor for me is just doing everything as asked. And it's going to take something special to beat this guy. I think he goes off at about even money and wins again.
8 years ago there for Orb, taking that same path. I'm with you. Greatest Honor. I mean, you know, I'd like to try and beat him, but he's just been making things look easy. I love the big stride on him. And you're right. I think the longer, the better for this guy. He is just going to love the added distance. And you know what? It must be nice, too, to kind of go into these events and you want to keep things, you know, the ball rolling and momentum. But there's no pressure. I mean, he's sitting comfortable as far as the Derby list to get in. I will say the 10 Spielberg, you know what, for Baffert, his first start in the Florida Derby, he impressed me in the Southwest to be second behind Essential Quality. I didn't think he was that type, but that showed me quite a bit. I want to see what he can offer up this weekend. But, you know, you talked about, you know, speaking with Shug McGahee, what more can you ask him at this point?
Yeah, he is just brimming with confidence. The trainer and the horse, he said, you know what, again, the way he's looking at it on paper, he feels pretty confident that this guy can continue on with his win streak.
Well, if I'm wrong, he's doing something down here that he doesn't really want to. And that's going a mile and 16th over speed favoring racetrack, you know, with a short pole. And so it's going to be interesting to see when we get him stretched out another 16th per mile. And, you know, the longer stretch here going a mile and 8th on Saturday, and I think that even down the road, distance is going to be his friend. I think they'll be an honest pace, yeah. I mean, Collaborate, he's fast, and there'll be some others. Spielberg drew the 10, so they're going to have to probably use him a little bit leaving there to get some kind of post position. Get some kind of position going around the first turn, and, you know, some of those horses that are a little bit lesser known, I'm sure that they're going to be forward place. So I think we'll get an honest pace, and you know, we can just get in the right spot, have the kick that he's had in the last 2 races.
All right, appreciate those comments from Shug. Again, we'll have the heavy favorite in the upcoming Florida Derby, but lining up next door to him, Mark Casse. He's already got a horse on the Derby trail in Helium. Well, he's got another one that's coming into this race, just like that guy, who was 2 for 2 in his career. This one, 2 for 2, Soup and Sandwich. And, you know, he said last year we thought, you know, he's one of our better 2-year-olds. He had a little hind end issue that set him back. and, you know, just kind of saying that, you know, they're happy with where they're at with him. And obviously it's a big step up, but you know, they want to know, you know, is he good enough, right? It's now or never, right? And he said he'd be disappointed if he didn't run well. And he has ran very well, Jason, in both starts. He's won easily. Now, some will make the case he hasn't, you know, defeated much yet. And obviously this is a huge test. And it's been short fields, field of 6 and a field of 3. But he's still making it look pretty easy. And again, it's Cassie, right?
Yeah. Deserving of the opportunity, right? 2 for 2, so we'll see. A known agenda, your horse looked really good last time out. I know you played him before. You disappointed, but was it the easier company? Was it the Lasix? Was it the blinkers? We're going to find out coming up on the weekend.
We will find out. He could use some points, too, sitting 44th on the list. As we head to Turfway Park, Saturday as well, a big Oaks and Derby prep day for them. They've got the Bourbonnais Oaks. Field of 10. Now, this is pretty competitive in here, Jason. I don't know if you can land on, you know, one in particular that you can kind of throw all your confidence behind. This is pretty wide open.
Tough race to forecast. I'm taking a shot with a local horse and Wait for Nairobi. She just seems like a different horse as a 3-year-old this season, and back-to-back wins, one through a DQ and one where she just romped. The question, though, Chad, stretching out, I mean, the sire, okay, Carpe Diem on top, a bluegrass winner, that should give some staying power. But on the bottom side, the mare never won routing. She's never thrown anything that's won routing. The trainer is only 3% when going from a sprint to a route. So I'm going to try and buck all those trends. I'm going to go Wait for Nairobi to a surprise in a wide open race.
Well, my pick is the gray lining up just to your inside, and that is Olivia of the Desert, a horse that gets back to a mile. She's perfect at the distance. 3 for 3. Has never tried the synthetic, you know, but has shown some decent results on the turf. And a lot of times I find, you know what, if you can perform well on the turf, I think you can do all right on the synthetic. So that is the Bourbonnais Oaks. Then the real big one is the Kentucky Derby prep with 100 points up for the winner. There's in fact 170 for the top 4. Field of 12 in here. It is the Grade 3 Jeff Ruby Stakes. Yes, stakes like we eat. A couple of Ontario sired horses here, Jason. It's Smiley Sabotka. We've got Gretzky the Great. Maybe some, you know, a couple that we'll see later on in the year battling for the Queen's Plate or on our Triple Crown Trail. But this one too, you know, going a mile and an eighth looks good on paper.
It does. And the first thing when I got that paper, Chad, is I looked at it looking for Mike Maker, because he's sent out 2 straight winners, 4 of the last 5, but he's not here. So maybe that opens the door for somebody else to follow in the footsteps of Animal Kingdom, win this race in 2011, then on to the Derby. Different field of this year's race, though. 100 points up for grabs instead of 20 like last year, and no polytrack. This year it's Tapeta. Those things all okay with Gretzky the Great. You know, he's been over the surface. That last start, he simply got roughed up in the John Battaglia Memorial, and I'm not going to hold it against him. It was a horse that went with him that usually doesn't show that kind of speed. It was almost like they were just trying to ruin his chances. Look at the fractions there. 23 and change, 47 flat, 111 and 1. That's his first start going around 2 turns for Gretzky the Great, and at least on synthetic. And, you know, I know he gives it up late here, but it wasn't a bad effort by any stretch of the imagination. He is back, but so too is Hush of a Storm, even Hard Ride guys. So I think it's a very competitive field. I don't think he's going to be on the front this time. I think he's got a really good shot to be a player once again. And most importantly, from a wagering perspective, Chad, the price will be better with Gretzky the Great. He will not go off at even money. That I guarantee you. He's at 5-1 on the line. I can see him sitting in just behind the speed and pouncing. But it's a wide open race with a ton of possibilities. I think this is a way better betting race than the Florida Derby, even though the Florida Derby probably has more legit Derby contenders.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you there. I'm just not going to agree with you on the top pick. I think he's got a big shot. There's a bunch of them in here. But I'm going to go with the one that just won the Battaglia. And we got to see him there, Hush of a Storm, only because I think the race sets up well for him. I see enough speed horses in there that will either be, you know, putting up the fractions or pressing the issue. And it's going to set it up for someone that's going to look to rally. And this guy's been doing it very, very well. So Maury and Gonzalez have been putting together some very fine numbers. And I think Hush of a Storm can kind of keep that momentum going. He's rolling right now. Lightly raced, but looking for his 4th win in a row. So those are our top selections there. But, you showed that replay of Gretzky the Great, Jason, as far as, conditioning. You got to think he got a lot out of that last race.
Oh, 100%. And Cassie talked about that, right? So I really feel like it's a case of, with that one under his belt, he's going to be that much better. And, speaking with Mark Cassie earlier this week, you could tell that, again, he thinks his horse is coming up to a big effort. So Mark kind of gave us a look back and a look ahead in terms of his great one.
Last time we were in the 1 hole. Today, Saturday, we're in the 10 hole. I think Chris will use his speed to find him a forward position, but definitely going to try to rate. He doesn't have to be on the lead. Again, we're looking for him to move forward, and I think if he moves forward, then he's the horse to beat. Those other horses had a little more racing underneath their belt for the last start, so we're just hoping that we can move forward.
All right, thank you to Mark, and good luck to him with all of his starters this weekend. I know he's got others in other stakes events, so just a very, very busy weekend as far as the major stake events. You know what? It's a big weekend, too, at Woodbine Mohawk Park. A lot of racing coming your way. 11 on Friday, 11 on Saturday. Sintra is back in the preferred. That'll be the on-track feature as far as purse-wise. But as far as maybe attraction, as far as what the bettors want, it's this right here. It's the Standardbred Jackpot Hi-5. Mandatory payout. It got growing quickly. It's been on pause since last weekend, Porty. 262,000. We got to be thinking a pool in the 7-figure range, right?
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds really good. And when it gets to that point, even I get down with a little Jackpot Hi-5. So I put together a ticket, a little sequence here. And I know a lot of them are going to begin with the number 7 in there, even with Son of a Gun, just because, he's battled the best on the grounds with some success. But I'm actually going to put Legion Sealster on top of my ticket because I think that's in a direction that not a lot of people are going to go. A few will, but not a ton of people. I'm hoping anyways. Forget about that last one against Sintra and Company. He missed some time before that race. I think he bounces back. Then I'm going to toss in horses like East End, even with Son of a Gun, as well as Mongolian Hero on the bottom. Ideal Perception could be a bit of a sneak pick in that 3rd or perhaps 4th spot. And then I'm just throwing in everybody on the back end. So $25 for 20 cents.
Where mine's going to be a little more expensive. I'm more like 67 and change for a 20 center.
Okay.
And that's with a single as well. I am on to even with Son of a Gun. I think he'll get that a lot. Improving effort last time. So I like him, but I feel really good about the ones in behind. That's Legion Sealster, Your Horse, East End, and then Mongolian Hero getting the 2nd tier. I think he can make some noise. So if I kind of fill those horses in that 2nd and 3rd spot, I just need to get the try basically because then I've just hit the all button. I know it's going to cost you a little more, but there's where you try and get the prices. But with how much money is going to be into this pool, Porty, even if a favorite wins, we've seen the returns be fantastic. So
yes,
good luck to everybody that's going to play along in that. And, we'll try and help you as much as we can. Monique and I will be on the program Saturday. We'll see what kind of info we can dig up. We've already dug up a little bit of info from, how about the 2 stars of, our mic'd up segments, presented by InfoTrack. James McDonald and Bob McClure, they were kind enough to send along some comments. And James, he just, he kind of seems to get along with this horse, East End, who, by the way, is making his debut in the Rob Fellows barn. But he says he takes a massive drop in class and should have a great shot from post position 6. Now, I like this. He says, these 11-horse fields usually make for aggressive racing. He'll probably be aggressive with him because he said he likes a stalking trip, but he sounds pretty confident. And you know what? He should, Porty, because the last 5 times this horse has been in this class, he's 3-1-1. Just seems to do very well. But Bob gave us some great insight here, too, to even with Son of a Gun. That last race off the pace, we're not used to seeing that with him. He just says his self-esteem's been lacking. So he and the Connections kind of decided, you know what? Let's go with that kind of a trip and see if we can build his confidence up a bit. Sounds like it's going to be more of the same. I don't think you'll see him getting away last in the field. But, an off-cover trip. So if he can get lining him up, I think that last race, we've seen it many times before. Horses, good horses kind of get, just off the trail. They lack that confidence. That race is going to help him out quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's a really good race in terms of a wagering perspective with a lot of sort of intangibles. And speaking of wagering, it's almost that time.
It is almost that time. We will get there in just a moment. First off, though, we've got a big weekend as well from Japan. And again, we are the Japan Racing North American Hub. You can catch it on HPI Bet. Chukio Racecourse is the stop this week. They've got a big grade 1, 2.6 million up for. I'm not even going to attempt that name, Porty, just by the way. 3/4 of a mile on the turf. I think I saw there's 18 horses entered. You know what? And we can see the approximate post time. I didn't even want to try and dive into this group. We'll leave that to, professionals that follow the product there. And we've got our very own Klaus Ebner, he's senior manager of wagering simulcast. Some of you might remember him. He was a co-host with me years ago on HPI TV, and he's going to go with Resistencia in that race. And I like Klaus there too. I don't know, is he a fan of that player, or is that an old picture of Klaus when he had hair? What is that?
A little bit of both. Let's just leave it at
okay.
that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. But we appreciate Klaus chiming in as well. There's that music queued up. Yes, sir. It is Jay and Chad.
Let's go.
That battle. And you know what? There's a lot of possibilities this week, so we'll get to that. But kind of getting sick of this trend. We need to change it. And you know what? You just missed. Your horse might have been the best in that Family Day Trotting Series final, Porty, but Toccoa Falls just get too much work to do in the stretch.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, and Bob beats us there, beats us on the golf course. Jeez, we got to turn the tables on this guy.
Tell me about it. Brian Award winner. Jeez, what more does he want, right? What more does he want? He is hungry. So $25 back into the bankroll until they cut us off. And this week's race, the Bourbonnais Oaks from Turfway Park. We talked about it. We talked about how competitive it is. Jason, so what have you mapped out this week?
Wait for Nairobi. That's going to be my top pick. Edwin Morales had an option or two in this race. He's going to go with that one. I spoke about her chances earlier on. More reasons perhaps not to like her stretching out than to like her stretching out. But I'm going to put her on top. I'm going to toss in a bunch of horses underneath, including California Lily from Mark Cassidy, who comes back on just 15 days rest. Mark said there's nothing else for her, so give her a shot there, see how she does, then perhaps back to Woodbine. And just in case she happens to surprise, so I've got Nairobi on top, I've got a win bet, but I'm also going to bet $5 on California Lily, just in case, as she reunites with her maiden winning rider, Rafael Hernandez. What about you?
I've got another Hernandez. Brian back aboard the 3 Olivia of the Desert. I know trying the synthetic for the first time, but loves the distance. 3 for 3 at a mile. And 8-1 morning line, I think pretty generous. I'm just going to go 20 to win straight up. And then I'm going to use the other $5 with her on top over the 7 into Vanishing, who's riding a 2-race win streak. And Landeros and Thomas at the meet, 60% together. That's with 15 starters. That's some winning. That's for sure. So that's what I've done. Kept it pretty simple, just trying to get on the board here. And I don't think I'm going to get 8-1, but should be a good one. There's so many wagering opportunities this weekend. What is there something you can pinpoint, Jason, that you're maybe looking forward to the most? A race, a bet?
Bourbonnais, actually. It may not be chock full of Oaks athletes, but I just think from a wagering perspective, it's a fabulous betting affair. And you know what makes it tricky this time around in terms of the Derby and Oaks Trail, Chad? No Lasix. A lot of these horses are just not good without it. So I think that's kind of the X factor that has me a little bit leery when making picks this season.
Yeah, and for me, it's that mandatory Hi-5 at Mohawk. It's just exciting to see that pool grow and grow, and the attention and the eyes that we have on the product. So we'll put on a great show for everyone tuning in, and hopefully you play along with that. But that does it, Jay, for another edition of Racing Around the World, presented by HPI Bet, where you can watch and wager on all of this action. A busy, busy weekend. We got to give shout out, of course, to everybody chiming in: Shug McGahee, Mark Cassie, James McDonald, Bob McClure, Klaus Ebner helping us out as well. And, of course, the man running the show behind the scenes, our producer, Luke Van Belcom. For Jason Portuondo, I'm Chad Rozema. Enjoy the racing. Next week, we'll see you as we kick off the month of April.